I don't know. Uh, I think, yeah, I was just thinking through like the sermon. Anything else like kind of
Oh,
find interesting? You said that you were going to tell me that you were thankful.
yeah, I was. I was gonna come in the office. Well, okay, I was gonna do it yesterday, but you weren't here when I got here.
Oh,
Um, but I was gonna say that, yeah, when you asked me how I was just gonna say that I was very thankful.
yeah. So it was funny because that story, several people, actually, my son came up to me and was like, "Were you talking about
Yeah.
so and so?" And I guess I don't know why I'm not saying his name, but uh, because I didn't ask him if I could share, and he'd probably be embarrassed. But yeah, I was like, "Yep, you're right."
You might be thankful.
He might be thankful that I mentioned it. I'm thankful for his example,
Yeah.
because yeah, and actually, Wendy and Steve had bought cows from this guy the
Mhm.
day before, and she said that Saturday, he said,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I'm just thankful."
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the cool things about that passage in particular, and actually the one we're going to look at this Sunday,
Mhm.
talking about community, is that the result is something different than you might think.
Yeah.
Um, so the outcome of being rooted in Christ and built up in Him and established in the faith, the result is thanksgiving.
Mhm.
And in this week, the result of unity and community in Christ is love.
Mm. Yeah.
So it's these results that aren't, in some respects, aren't tangible in the sense or quantifiable,
Mhm.
but they're very evident, and
Mhm.
there's something that we can't produce
Yeah.
in our own.
Yeah.
Um, and one thing I think I thought about, but I didn't mention, I kind of like alluded to it a little bit, is that we can practice gratitude.
Yeah.
Um, we can sit down and think about the things, like meditate on what God has done,
Yeah.
and oftentimes that will help produce gratitude.
Yeah.
Um,
I thought about that when you talked about Thanksgiving on Sunday.
hmm
It was a few years ago. I thought about how, like, in my prayer life, I'm like, I should like thank God for more things,
hmm
and it was the more things that I thanked Him for, and over time, it's like now I just can't really stop.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, just thank you for everything, because I
Yeah.
actually don't have anything.
Yeah.
So thanks.
I think, I mean, it is somewhat of a discipline, because you can, like, if you look at, a lot of people use this prayer acrostic: acts, adoration, confession, thanksgiving, and supplication. I missed
You
the one that I was
forgot the
talking
one that
about.
you were talking about.
Um, like, a lot of times, if you notice, listen to people prayer, a lot of times you can hear their theology, you can hear
Yeah.
kind of their mindset. If people jump right into asking God for things,
Mhm.
it's kind of like, oh, there's an expectation there. But if you start your prayer with adoration, like how amazing God is and what He's done, and who He is,
Yeah.
that kind of uh, calibrates your heart,
Right.
and then you confess things, and you're calibrating more of like, oh, I really don't deserve the things that later on I'll ask for, and then you
Mhm.
you thank God for what He's done,
Right.
and you start naming things specifically.
Right.
When you get to supplication, when you get to asking for things, your heart is like in a different position than
Yeah.
if you just jump in. So, I think there is a benefit to like disciplining ourselves to just spend time listing out or praying things like that we're
Right.
thankful for to God, and if you have trouble finding things to be thankful for, like,
Mhm.
it's not like, you pray about that,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, for sure.
hmm
It thanks Thankfulness is an interesting concept
hmm
to me.
Yeah.
It
It Go ahead.
I was just thinking it's humbling to be thankful. I
Yeah.
think where you have to place yourself in a position where it's like I'm not everything.
Right. Yeah, there's something you have to admit
Mhm.
about yourself or your own abilities,
Yeah.
that is necessary for you to show gratitude to somebody else,
Yeah.
or to God.
Right.
Just going, oh, thank you for. And sometimes it's hard for people to receive
Yeah.
from others because of pride, not necessarily because of anything else.
Right.
So, yeah.
Cool.
And, I did want to share one
Yeah.
thing. If you've made it this far in the video,
Well, we might do. I was just thinking we might do a part 1 and part 2. So
Okay.
we can split this up. And
well, one thing that Becky Russell came up to me after the sermon, and I used this analogy of we're rooted in Christ, or roots grow deep. And part of the reason our roots grow deep into Christ is because when winds come, that's when our foundation is. Well, she shared with me that she was listening to a book or a podcast or something, and they were talking about an experiment that was done to try to grow trees, to see if they could grow trees in like an alien environment, like a planet,
Yeah.
And they grew these trees in this environment, and when they grew tall, they all fell over because they didn't have good root structures. And through the course of this research, they found out that actually what causes the trees to grow roots is wind. So I just think that's an interesting correlation, that actually when the wind blows against you, like that should cause you to deepen your roots in Christ. And that's how trees actually are made to sustain wind.
Right.
And it's like this cycle that you experience trials and you grow deeper in Christ, so that when the next trial comes, you've got more strength, and then they just keep growing deeper and deeper. And that picture is pretty awesome.
That's so cool. I mean, I think that I can see that in my own life, where it's like the hardest times in my life have also been the times that I've spent the most time, like in the Bible or in prayer.
Yeah.
So.
And the result is
growth. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So I like that. I love that
Yeah.
analogy.
Yeah, and I'd assume you're thankful for that.
Yeah. I am very thankful for
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not in the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
No one's ever thankful in the moment.
Yeah.
But
you're like, wow, thanks. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
But like, you look back and you're like, wow, that like God sustained me.
Right.
And it just, there's something that's awesome about that.
Yeah.
It's how we were made. Again,
absolutely.
That goes back to someone who's just wants a ticket to heaven. When they get the trials of life,
right,
they're not growing back into Christ.
Right.
Unless God does something in their heart. But like, they're going to try, they hit problems, they're going to try the same thing that the world does to try to fix those problems. And it actually doesn't grow faith. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
It was a good sermon.
Yeah.
Good
Thank
topic.
you. Anything that you didn't understand?
I don't think so.
Okay. That's good.
I will admit that I'm not great at when people ask me like what I learned today kind of thing. I'm like, did you learn it like, when I was a kid and parents, what did you learn in Sunday school today? I have no idea.
Right.
Doesn't mean I didn't get anything out of it.
Right. Yeah, I have a child who's like that.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know.
They say, don't ask me what I learned because I can't remember anything right now.
And it's not that I didn't learn anything. I
Same
just
thing.
Cannot recall it right now.
Yep.
I'll recall it in a conversation like 3 years later, and then
that's all that matters.
Right.
Yeah.
It's there.
There's no homework. There's no test. That I'm grading.
That's good. Right.
Yeah. So.
God might be neat.
That's right. He'll bring tests.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
very cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Let us know if you have any questions. Definitely recommend watching the sermon if you haven't, if you weren't here on Sunday, or even if you were, or if you watched it live, or even if you didn't. So go watch it anyway.
Yep. Awesome.
Cool. Well, thanks for watching.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.